I'll show you a couple of details, and then we'll show you either a pass or a sweep. It depends. Couple of things. Had some really good, and don't worry, leg lockers. I got something for you too. So, what if we don't get our, so just a couple of things that we're not going to drill. And then a few details on the bump, and then I'll answer any questions before we do our last move. Let's say I don't get the split grip that I wanted with my ear over here. Let's say I get right here. Now this is a powerful position for wrestle ups, or you can just turn and start single legging. He has more options, but I have more options too. If his knees turn this way, I'm probably going to try to wrestle up. If he sits back, I am going to do a terrible knee bar on Colby like this. Did you see how quick that tap was? It is awful. Now usually, I've definitely gotten a fair bit of taps here, but even if he doesn't tap, give me the reaction. And now we're up on top, right? So that's for you, a little bone for the leg lockers. Had a couple of quick questions too about the bump. So generally speaking, we always want to be walking our knees up toward our chest so that they can't move their foot. If they do move their foot, we have some other options. And generally speaking, we want to be putting our feet on the mat when we bridge. Sometimes you'll be able to make them, sometimes you'll be able to get them to put their hands on the mat just by rotating like this, which is also useful, right? Depends on your body physiology and your composition compared to them. With me and Colby, who both are sort of short, stumpy-legged dudes, I can pinch my knees together and just rotate, and he's probably going to be there. Against the bigger person, I would probably have to step my feet on the mat and make a bigger bridge. Does all that make sense? Mm-hmm. Finally, last thing that I noticed, so Colby doesn't hide his hand like this always. I try to, and there are two reasons. My main worry here, we talked about the worry of them getting the underhook and smashing you, or grabbing a Kimura here, which is a risk. So if I hide, that kind of takes away from the risk. There's trade-offs. The other reason I like this is I love the double underpass. So if I do this move and I bump them, I never ever land when I can get triangle, right? Just something to consider. If your arm came out, so I had two people that were like, man, I did the sweep and then I came out right in a triangle position, right? And that'll happen first few times you do it. Like if you're here, boom. What I want you to do is immediately put your ear on their far hip. Triangle me. Triangle me. Shit. Right? It's not the end of the world. We can still defend the triangle, but it's easier to stay out of trouble than get out of trouble. So that's what we wanted you to defend. Those are the things I noticed. Did you notice anything that you want to ask about at this move? I will mention, how did Colby's back kick start? What's the first thing we have to do with our head? We have to get it out the back, right? So if your partner is just like, I just don't want to get swept, I'm sitting here and all I want to do is not get submitted today, you have to give them a reaction, right? You have to make them do this to get your head out. If they're just like, if they just freeze, then you go right into the back kicks. If they sit back, they'll give you this. But that's why getting good at this bump is going to really, really open up the world of the top for you. Any questions before we move on?